Well, good morning again. Welcome to the morning bit session. And these are the first words that I am speaking today, so you get my early morning crackly voice. Allow me to sip some coffee first. Much better. So this morning, I want to delve into some of my notes here that I've taken during various sessions, and we're going to take a look at the OODA Loop, as it's called. And no, that's not a song from the Chocolate Factory movie, but it is actually a way of life. So, what is what is the OODA Loop? Well, the OODA Loop is just simply, OODA is an acronym for observe, orient, decide, and act. When it comes to trading, the OODA Loop is imperative. It's very important. I can't think of any other big words to use. So it's just very, very important. So what is the OODA Loop? Well, I'm going to start with a couple just random observations when it comes to why we should use the OODA Loop. So the best traders only trade once a day. As a new trader, do you think we should be trading more than them? Nope, and that's something to keep in mind. Like I said in the previous Morning Bits session about trading psychology, let's see. Oh, what did I say? Well, anyway, you have to. It takes 3 to 5 years for you to be a self-sufficient trader. So keep that in mind. One of the biggest problems is trying to watch or trade too many stocks at once. Don't trade the phone book, but come to the market with the goal of making a daily paycheck, not a life's savings. That's a big one because oftentimes we want to make those huge gains. We want to have those huge percent gains on our position, and that can get us into trouble. You must have a process, and that's where the OODA Loop comes in. It helps you have a consistently repeatable process, and with that, your odds for success are much, much higher. Because every day there's hundreds of stocks in play, and it's confusing and overwhelming to try to keep track of all of them. So what is the OODA Loop? First off, the approach favors agility over raw power in dealing with human opponents in any endeavor. So, meaning this isn't just for trading. This is for your daily life. Make a process and stick to it. What's the first O stand for? Stands for observe. So in trading, we're going to bring up our scans and screeners. First thing, we're going to observe the previous day's watch list that we had made, and we're going to look at the news. We're going to look at the SPY, we're looking at the Qs, we're looking at the broader markets to get a feel for what the market's doing today. The second O in OODA stands for orient, as in not like oriental, but rather orientation. You have to orient yourself around your observations. Take a look at those stocks in your watch list and ask yourself, is this my type of setup? Am I comfortable with this? And sometimes, based off of that, your orientation, sometimes the best trade is no trade. After that, you have to make a decision. If it's not your setup, start the loop again. Go back to observing. Wait for something that you can orient yourself around. And if it is, write out a trade plan. Make a trade plan. You must have defined risk, and your stop must never move. You must have defined entries and exits. If you don't, you're going to get messed up because you'll become emotional. And finally, you have to act. And this could be either the fun part or the scary part. But if you have a trade plan, it's fun. You execute the trade plan if and only your criteria are met. So don't just go willy-nilly into anything, but you observe, you do your due diligence, orient yourself around your setups, decide if it is your setup or not, make your trade plan, and then act upon it. And that's it. And you put that process into a loop over and over and over and over. And like I said yesterday, the most successful traders are the boring ones because they're doing this. They're using the OODA Loop, and every single morning they're looking at their scanners. They're observing the previous day's watch list. They're looking at the news in the SPY. Then they're asking themselves, what's their setup? Then they are deciding if it is the setup or not. And then they're taking action by writing their trade plans and executing the trade plans. And then start the process all over again. So the question is, how do you get faster at looping the OODA Loop? Because the faster you can loop it, the more efficient you will become and the more profitable you will become. When I first started trading, it took me eons to go through just my watch list or the new stocks that were showing up on my scans. And after a year of doing that over and over, it just kind of becomes second nature, and you can do stuff at a glance instead of having to dig into it so much. So one way to get better at it is just to do it. So what are some of the common breakdowns in the observe and orientation stages? So watching too many stocks. If, like back in 2020, literally there would be at least a dozen stocks that had run up 20% or more overnight, almost every single day. It was insane. And if you try to watch that many stocks at the same time and try to trade that many, you'll get lost. You'll get confused. So trim it down, look at the setups, look at the patterns, choose the ones that have the best news and the most factors that are going to put it in your favor. Not filtering according to your criteria. Now this is a big one because on the slow days, the scans might not show anything. And you're like, oh shoot, I'd really like to trade today. But you shouldn't. Because if you break out of your criteria, then you're going to get slammed because you're marching out into unknown territory. That's not to say that you can't experiment, expand, and grow. That's part of it. But if you have a habit of being a degenerate trader, then you can have issues. And then the final point is, getting bored and breaking from the process. Yeah, that's definitely going to destroy the process. So that's the OODA Loop. Hopefully that makes sense. It is an acronym that stands for observing, orientation, making a decision, decide, and then act. Acting upon those things. And if you can figure out how to do the OODA Loop in trading, and you loop it over and over and over, you will become consistent, and you will eventually become profitable. Because the OODA Loop gives you a nice set of parameters to gain experience in, instead of just going from one thing to another. Hopefully this is helpful, and I'll see you at the market open. Thanks for listening.